defense frameworks. We can't wait for the colonists to take care of us. They will always prefer violence. This is what it means when we say we keep us safe, not them. And finally, to the people in the crowd who've been moved to appear here but are not involved in this struggle. We are locked in a battle of extinction with a structure of white power that threatens to end the world as we know it. If we are going to avert disaster and secure the liberation of generations to come, we need all hands on deck. Read the works of Black revolutionaries.
Well, I grew up in Hayward, California. I'm from Palmer City in Hayward. My family grew up with Oscar Grant's people, and we watched them get murdered on the BART platform. And that was a tough one to take, too. And then when Roy was murdered, it was the same as Eric Gardner and George Floyd. You know, his words was, "I can't breathe." You know, and my family is suffering and hurting, and it's kind of hard to let out our frustration. So I'm here to try to let some of that out and spend time with my family in remembrance of Roy.
Constantly in our communities, we see a separation between police officers and their communities that they serve in. What is something that we can do as a community to help close the distance and close the gap between us and our police officers that are meant to protect us?
I honestly have a unique view on that. You know, I don't think it'll ever happen. Could it happen? Yes. It can happen if the police were more involved in the community and possibly lived in the community. They don't live in the community. They have nothing at stake there. And, you know, with your area code being a certain area code, they treat people different on traffic stops, on the mistakes that human beings make. They treat them different than, say, another area code, different cities, different locations. So I don't think it'll ever happen because I believe that their funding comes from their arrest. And where you arrest the most is in the low-income neighborhoods. And that's where the police fluctuate, and that's where they are. You know, so it's an uphill battle. I don't think it'll ever happen.
You mentioned something very significant about the police officers and getting their funding from their arrest. As we know, police officers have certain quotas that they have to meet by the end of the month and stuff like that.
Right.
What is something that, with many issues like these, there's always a root to their issue, right? What do you believe is the root to the police officers' racial prejudice towards our communities?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, it's self-evident, really, but it's a tough one to answer. It's superiority. It's a point blank, it's superiority. When you have darker melanin skin, you know, they want to get the quota up and they want to continue to keep their jobs. Now, every police is not a bad police, but the majority that I've come in contact with in my 52 years, I would say 85% of them are an oppressive army. They want to oppress and, you know, pressure busts a pipe. And they just in your community and walk into the store, they want to stop you. Who are you? Where are you going? You look like a sexual assault suspect. You look like a robbery suspect. Not true. They just want to get to know who you are to oppress you more. It's suffering for dark melanin skin. And it's not only black people. It's all minorities, Indians, Hispanics, Mexicans, or I don't know what to say about, you know, the races, but that's what it is. It is, and it's been that way since the beginning. It's been that way. So it was a slave. The first badge was a slave captor. They're doing the same thing now. So when they send you to jail, they're sending you to be a slave because you're working for pennies on the dollar. But if they would educate us in public schools on how to survive in this society, we wouldn't have too many people in prison. We wouldn't build 7, 8 prisons. We wouldn't build 4 or 5 yards. It's a business. It's a business.
We asked a similar question to the earlier speaker, Sarah. I believe she's running for the district.
Right.
What can you say to someone who feels disconnected to these issues, predominantly a Caucasian community that don't really see the significance in police brutality because they can't relate to it. What can you tell the people?
You know what? I think about this quite often. I'm a basketball coach. I've been coaching for 18 years now. And I coach millionaire kids, and I coach kids with roaches, and that's on food stamps. So I've seen everything. For the majority, and I'm going to keep it real with you, they don't want to listen. They don't want to hear it. They do not want to listen to you. So, you know, I try to bait them into the conversation, and this is by 10, 15 different individuals. I try to bait them into the conversation, not to argue with them, but I want to, I want to help. I want them to help. I want to be an educational factor to them. They don't want to hear it. When it comes to religion, racism, people just, I'm good. I don't have any financial issues. My kids are going to college. So it's a selfishness, because when it comes to humanity, it's superiority. And they will show their superiority in a weak manner. They just won't listen to you. They won't listen to you, but they feel they're better because their kids are doing much better, going to private schools, learning more about society than a public school does. And that's why they succeed, and they continue climbing, and we end up in prisons and jails and killed. So they don't want to listen. That's what I've seen.
It's much bigger than the turnout that we had here today. What is something that you can say to motivate people to come out to more events like these?
When I got here, man, it was disheartening, man. I mean, it was like, wow. I think that, a lot of people want to talk about this, and they want to only talk about it, but they don't want to show up. A lot of people, unless it's on the news in 24 hours, when it comes onto the news in 24 hours, then the whole society sees it, and then people act up. But with these guys, like Roy's body cam didn't come out for months after he was murdered. So it already then dwindled out and died out. But see, you got Floyd and these other guys that their stuff came right out. So when it came right out, when people saw that, it wasn't in the back of their minds anymore. The only people that knew Roy was murdered was his family until it came out. So they sweeping it under the rug. And his life wasn't meaningless. Because of our skin color, we're worse than animals. Michael Vick got more time than Mesley. And Mesley shot Oscar Grant in the back while he was handcuffed. So they are showing blatant disregard for dark melanin human beings. And I don't have an answer for it. I have no answer for it. If I did, I would wave a magic wand and everybody would be treated equal. And then we go from there. But we can't go for there because they feel they're superior to other human beings.
Glad to be here. I thank the organizers.
Would you like to add anything else? That's all I got for now.
I'm a civil rights lawyer.
What we need to do as a community is us that are blessed, us that are still here, we need to speak positive words about human beings, not no matter what they've been through. We must uplift them while yet we're still here. So being in a room with a bunch of people, we need to speak good about the people that's not in that room. Hey, Michael did this, Michael did that. Hey, Michael was doing this, Michael was doing that. Change the narrative and get some energy from inside to project it to the outside. And that's kind of hard because it's always, he's doing this, he's doing that. And then another thing is that these public schools are not teaching anything that's going to prepare you for society or this world. We need trade schools, electricians, we need plumbers, we need people that are going to go out here and make good money to take care of themselves and their families. Because graduating from public school, you end up at McDonald's or Subway or somewhere, and not saying nothing bad about their business or their companies, but it's not going to help the individual
But it's not just
who's
about
starting at
district
ground
attorney,
zero.
because as your district
So we
attorney,
need to
I
go
promise
from
you,
ground
I won't
zero and
wait
get
until after the
our
murder
community up
to check
in the
in with
higher
what's happening
echelon.
with the police.
It's
My
all
job
about
as
money.
district attorney is to be proactive
It's
for
all
public
about money.
safety, and that means no more
Now,
double standard
if
and holding cops
someone was
accountable
murdered by the
and setting
police
a
and they were
standard,
multi-millionaires,
since we don't
something
kill
would have
people
happened.
every time we
So
show
that's
up.
about it. I appreciate you
That's
guys.
number one. But it's also
All right.
accountability beyond
the mic
the
point.